I hope you guys are really remembering. Just listen, you don't need to write this down. You will remember that I say this, that I am not going to count vertebra. You do not need to count vertebra. There's 24 that I just indicate. And indication means that you're making something look like what it is, but it really doesn't. If you look at my vertebra, it looks kind of neat, but it's really just indicated. It's faked. Because of its proximity to the body, people just read it as like, oh, that's a vertebral column. If it was separate, nobody would know what it is. But since it's on somewhere, then it's going to read that way. When I do painting, sometimes I'll do one clear item, like a cow, and in the background, little dots. And people think there's a herd of cows there. Because you're already basically told that's what those things are back there, because it looks like it. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to indicate the vertebra. So you do not need to count vertebra. If you ever have like a friend that starts counting stuff and then just dissing you or whatever, you got to get rid of that friend, because you don't need people like that in your life. Okay, you don't need that kind of crap. So basically, it's like if somebody starts counting, it's like, you know what, I don't think we could be friends anymore. We need a breakup. Whatever the situation is, you let them go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically indicate. And the way I'm going to do this is only from side, front, side. So right now I'm going to show you on my finger. The back of it will be like the back that's facing you. And please do not worry, I will try to rotate as much as I can, but I have to work one way, then I will show you. So to make sure that you know what I'm doing, basically I'm going to take this, as you can see here, you can even see my hand. Look, it's the same hand. See, it's the same tool. See that? It's like a star. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is cut into the clay like this. Side, front, side. Side, front, side. You indent it just like that. Okay, you cut into it. And I'm basically using maybe a 1/4 inch increments. I just eyeball this. The way I'm showing you now is the way I do it. So watch. I'm just going to go side, front, side. And I'm trying to not hit her ilium. And just hold on to that, Joy. Like that. Do you see what I just did? It's as simple as that. It's not anything tricky. It's not anything that takes any kind of talent. It's just the way I indicate. And I'm doing the same thing over here. Now I'm going to put the arms up a little bit, because you can. You can do whatever you want to get things out of the way. And I just keep going. And you do go all the way up, because when I show you guys little demos, I don't always have to do the whole darn thing. You know that you just keep going up, up, up. You notice where Joy put this, or I put this, it's about halfway up the spike. That's fine, okay, because the head's going to fit in there. So it could be shorter, it could be longer, it doesn't matter. Later on we can adjust it when we put the skull on there. But right now you basically keep doing that. Over here it gets a little trickier, but you can do it. Just maneuver around the ribs, and you just keep going up. But you'll get the idea. Then you take anything that is basically like the size of something in between those cuts. In this case, I just picked up a handle, a little brush handle. If you have a piece of wire, maybe the wire will work. But anything that's kind of like this tends to be a little bit bigger. This seems to be a little bit bigger, so I think it works better. So basically what I have now is I have those cuts, right? Now I'm going to go in between those cuts and indent till it looks like a vertebra. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it with this top one because it's the easiest one for you guys to all see. Watch. By indenting in between the cuts, it will automatically look like a little vertebra. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing because it's so simple. And you do that enough times. The neatest thing about design, or being an artist and learning about design, is that when you repeat something, it looks nice. That's why we have wallpaper. That's why we have patterns on clothing, etc., etc. Patterns are pleasing oftentimes. So in this case, if you create that same pattern, the eye of the person looking at this, the viewer, sees the whole thing as like this one cohesive shape. And it looks like a nice vertebra without it being overly done. That's it. You do that all the way up, and the only thing that a lot of this takes is just a little patience. You know, you just have to carefully go into every little section and not mess things up, like I'm trying not to do with Joy's. Okay, so that's it. Then separate each vertebra. That's it. We did that. Indent each vertebra. We did that. We're already up to stage 4. Isn't that amazing? Just like that. Okay, so we move pretty quickly. This is the part I really want to help you with. I want you to think of a toothpick. And I'm talking about just the standard round toothpicks. And just think that way. I just grabbed a piece that was about like the size of a pea. It's not big, just a little piece of clay. And I rolled it because I'm not thinking length at all. Because you'll see. What I'm doing is I'm just taking a piece of clay and I'm rolling it. This is one of the first animals I learned how to do when I was about 4. It's a little worm. So now this brings back memories. If I start getting teary-eyed, you'll know why. Brings back these neat memories, and I gravitate towards snakes and then small little rodents and stuff like that. But basically, that's how it started. Next thing you know, I'm doing that corsets. But this is the way it starts. Now, this is a nice, good-sized toothpick. It's maybe a little bit bigger, but that will work. The one thing I think you guys can... Oh, look at that. See, he actually has a toothpick. It's bigger than a toothpick. So these are actually really fancy. Wow. These rich students over here at Cal State LA, and he has one like in his pocket. Like a little holster. He's got like a whole roll of them, like, you know, Pancho Villa. And so here. I digress. Okay, so here is a toothpick. Now I can see, okay, it's kind of a fat toothpick. But I think this will work out better. Now, the one thing about ribs I think you guys might know is that they're not cylindrical. They're oval. So if you saw a cross-section, it's a little oval. For any of you that eat meat, you get a little rack of ribs, you see the ends of them, they're little ovals. That's not going to happen here unless you press down on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my hands are clean, because if you have any kind of like Vaseline on your hands or anything, it'll stick to your finger. So basically what I'm doing is tapping it. So now this nice long stretch here it's also too long. So I'm just going to break it. Because now, this is the magic part. This is the part that you're going to say, that is very clever. Or you might not say that, I don't know. I'm going to say it for me. This is really clever. Those people at Rayco are brilliant. See, I have a whole team of guys in the lab, white lab coats, and they're always coming up with this stuff for me. It's not me, it's these guys at Rayco. It's my little fictitious company. It's kind of like having an imaginary friend. Okay, so there's that. That's flat, right? So if I cut that, you would see the ends would be like little ovals. Okay, now, so what's that got to do with the ribs? This is the easiest thing I could show you. It's the coolest thing. See, remember how long you took to do these ribs? This is where it's going to pay off, because you already did the hard work. The easiest thing now is that you're going to lay that piece of clay on them. The wire is never inside the rib. See, that's the part that a lot of times people are surprised. If you look inside, you can see the ribs. You can see the wire. So that's the easiest thing. All I do is, remember you started at the top? What?
Out of madness!
I know, it's almost too much. I know, it's hyperventilating. So I start with the first one and I work my way down. This just takes a little patience, but it's easy. So all you have to do is lay it on there. And since there's Vaseline on that wire, it just lays right on there and just stays there. Isn't that amazing? And that's it, and then you break it off. Now, some people, to make sure that it's consistent, sometimes make a really long worm and just cut it up. Okay, but that's it. Look how nice the little rib looks. Like that. But if you try to force it to be in the wire in it, you'll mess it all up. It'll get all wobbly. But right there, it's just laying on there very gently, very softly, and that's it. The only thing is, you do have to be patient because there's 12 of them. You have to just keep doing that very carefully. But if you were able to do that wire rib cage, this is a piece of cake. Remember I told you, just make sure that you really work hard on the wire, that the payoff comes later. And that's the payoff, that now it's not quite so hard to do this part of it. Okay? So you just do that with each one. So now that you've done 4, place flattened ribs on each wire, toothpick thickness, then flattened. But now you can see, because Sarah had that toothpick, it's actually a little bit bigger, so make it bigger than a toothpick. But make sure that you guys kind of take a mental picture of this, so it's not too big, like linguine. Okay, so there you go. You'll know, something inside you will say, it's like, well, that's too big, it's too small, it's too whatever. So look at it and see if you can make that happen. This next part is kind of cute. See this? This is a ping pong ball size ball. So think ping pong. I think everybody here can visualize ping pong. Okay, so I start with ping pong ball size. Then what I need is, yes, your left ear. Let me see your left ear, that one. Okay, good. Watch this. I'm going to do a little portrait.